Hey everyone, today I am going to be stripping down and cleaning the Sony PS2 DualShock controller. See, it's pretty gross. This is a find at a thrift store or something, but I'll be stripping it down in just component pieces and giving it a wash, and I explain my approach to doing this. One thing I use is a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, mostly for cleaning the circuit board if it's pretty dusty or grimy, and also when I take the screws out, I'll actually dump it in here, just toss the screws in there, clean the screws up a little bit. I also get an ice cube tray, something that retro game tech uses a lot, and I'll put the individual screws along here so I don't lose them or get them mixed up. It's really handy for when you have screws of varying sizes and everything as well. Alright, well, I'm going to start taking this apart and we will be right back. Okay, as you can see, I have taken the back cover off. You see in here, especially on this side, how camera focuses. You can see, look how nasty that is. It's also a good time to check and make sure there's no loose wires. I tested this controller first, and it is fully functional, but nevertheless, it's usually a good time to check and make sure that there's nothing that needs resoldering or anything like that. So here's some of the screws off the back of this. Let's zoom in here. See, this is all the dirt and stuff that came out. And we don't want to put these back in, so that's why I'm going to drop these. Right into my little bowl of some isopropyl alcohol. Let them sit in there for a few minutes. Basically, I'm just going to wash them off without causing them to rust or anything. Or shoot that up and leave that right there. So another thing I highly recommend doing, even if you've taken something like this apart a few times, is grab a smartphone or a camera and actually take pictures as you strip this down. That will help, especially if you've never taken apart a particular item before. It will help you to be able to place these things back into where they go. And also, if you forget where a screw goes, like over here, there's or if you forget where a screw goes, you'll be able to put it back in there in the right place. And I recommend pictures over video because you can usually be more detailed in a picture and it's easier to find what you're looking for. And also, by taking them yourself, you're not relying on what you find online. And I just noticed as I pulled this out that this actually is a slightly different model than the other one I took apart earlier today. And they had an extra screw, I believe, over here. So stuff like that, little minor differences, especially in some of these older controllers and consoles, they changed over time. So by taking your own pictures, you'll have what you know to be a picture of the item you're working on. So I'm going to continue to strip this down, and I'm going to take this apart the rest of the way. And also, when you're taking these apart, you definitely want to be careful of pulling any wires or cables out accidentally. So I'm going to go ahead and strip this down, and we'll take it to the sink, and I'll show you how I clean all this stuff off. Okay, now we're back. I have this completely disassembled, as you can see, and when taking apart these things, you want to be very careful of these little pads. You don't want to rip them. They're really delicate, so be very careful of those. Also, taking a look at this, you can see how much dirt and just crap gets in these things. And oftentimes when you find one that's not quite working right, or the button seems stuck, all it really needs is a really good cleaning. And it will usually bring that right back to working order. So now that we're at the sink, one thing I definitely do is get a little stopper, put it in the bottom so you don't lose any little pieces. And get a little plastic tub here. I'm going to put some hot water in there, squirt us some soap. That didn't work out so well. And we don't need to fill it up too much. And I just dump all the parts right in there. It's always a good idea to make sure you have some idea of what parts you actually are working with. So at the end, when you're going through, make sure you find all the parts. You just want to get that good and soapy in there. And then here's a toothbrush, and I just scrub the parts really well. Put them over here to dry off a little bit, and then I let everything air dry, and then we reassemble it. Okay, well, I have all these scrubbed down and they are drying. You can already see how much better these look. Now there are some scuffs and everything that simply, like right here, not sure if you'll be able to see that, that just aren't going to come off, but you can do your best. And just the other side here. See where there was all that dirt along the edges, it's now gone. It's looking pretty sparkly. The other thing I like to do, now the toothbrush works great for getting to a lot of the nooks and crannies, but there are sometimes places where it just isn't working, and for that I will use just a Q-tip and get in there, scrub it around, make sure you get all the dirt off. Otherwise, taking these apart and doing it is kind of pointless if you're not going to do a really good job with it. So I'm going to let this sit here for a little bit, let it air dry, all these pads and stuff. Usually just let all that dry, take a little while. Then we will put it all back together, and I'll show you the final product there. Okay, as you can see, we've got this all cleaned up, spread apart here. We're going to be reassembling it. Just wanted to call out a couple of things about this here. The controllers, when you take them apart, they will have some type of membrane in them that will register the button presses and stuff. And you can see this is not too bad, slightly dirty. We'll take a Q-tip and clean it up. And also here, you can see this gunk here. I did check all the components and they look fine, but generally it's a good time to clean that up. I'm also cleaning the contacts on the analog sticks as well. And to do that, we'll just use Q-tip and at least 70% alcohol. Okay, we have cleaned that off. You can see the Q-tip's pretty gross, but these are all nice and clean now. And I'm going to reassemble this. Okay, and here we are. Controllers put back together. You can see that it's already much cleaner. All the dirt and grime has been taken. All the dirt and grime is out of there. Take a look at the back here. And now for the final step. The final step in our cleaning process, I actually apply some WD-40. Now, I don't put it directly on to anything, but I'll put it on a paper towel, rub it all down, and you just need a small bit. It goes a long way. And I'll do that up, and we can take a look at what it looks like after it's been applied. And here it is after we apply a small coat of WD-40 to this. See, that has a pretty good shine on there, and that'll actually help protect the plastic, everything from sweat and water as well. And I've been doing that on all of my stuff for a while, and I've never had any problems with it. And you do want to let it dry for a little bit, and again, only a small amount of WD-40 to just slightly coat the surface, too much and it will stay wet for a little while and be pretty slimy and stuff. And I usually actually, after I apply it, turn the napkin over, paper towel over, and dry it off a little bit as well. Thanks for watching. Hope you found this useful, and until next time, see you later.